everyone, and thanks again for joining me here in another episode at One Drop's Mental Health Conversation with me, Joy Lee. And with me here today is a multiple business owner. She's also a content creator and a mental health advocate. Please welcome Gia Santos. Hey, Gia, thanks for being with me here.
Hi, Joy. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for the invite. Hi, everyone.
I am so glad that we get to talk and learn from you today, Gia. So, let's get this started, shall we? I don't want to waste our time together. Thank you. Sige. So, in a couple of sentences or in a few minutes, can you share with our audience today who are watching or listening to this episode? Sino ba si Gia, how she got started, and what got you into mental health advocacy?
Okay, thanks, Joy. Let me try to minimize the number of sentences for this. But yeah, I guess to start with, I'm Gia. As you mentioned, I'm a multipreneur. I actually started doing business when I was 12. Started working online because my parents naman I wasn't spoiled, so I needed to find ways to support my luho ganyan and the things that I wanted to buy. So that's how I started getting into business. At the same time, interestingly, I think that time was when I started to experience symptoms of depression. And during that time, that was, I think, more than a decade ago, sobrang wala pa masyadong resources on mental health. And I remember going through a magazine and checking the symptoms of mental, like depression. And I was like, oh, checking everything. But I couldn't find the support. I mean, there were no conversations then. And I knew that if I went to my parents, I would be like judged, or it would be just shrugged off. Fast forward around maybe 8 years later, 8 to 10 years later, I graduated from college and started my own another startup, which is in the tech industry. And as I was running that startup, I started to feel the symptoms again of depression. And I guess that's when I started really advocating for it. And my startup was also around health and well-being, which involved mental health. So I guess that's everything just merged, and that's how I got back into the advocacy of mental health. So and then a couple of years later, I started my page, and I saw that as an avenue to even promote more and make the topic more normal for everyone, because I realized that I thought it was normal to me, but then when I meet new people, it's like a taboo topic. So I guess that's my journey from being a multiple entrepreneur to actually being a mental health advocate right now. So yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I agree with you, no? So 10 years ago talagang ganon, napaka-limited ng resources natin. I think even now, hindi pa rin ganon ka-open yung ating culture in the mental health industry. So doing this interview with me, letting other people know, spreading the word as much as we can is really helping, normalize mental health in our time today. So I appreciate you for that. So nasabi mo that you're a multiple business owner, a multipreneur. How is it like? I want to know. I'm so curious. How are you managing your mental health given that kind of lifestyle, given that kind of title or role? How are you managing your mental health now?
Okay. Thanks, Roy. It's really not very easy. It's a constant struggle of ups and downs, especially when you're dealing with things that have a lot of uncertainty. Like right now, I have a tech startup, and then I'm also a financial advisor, and I create content. What helped me manage my mental health in the past year or so is journaling. That's one of the things. I am able to write down my thoughts and make sure I process them properly. And in terms of managing my time and energy, I have learned to delegate to my team members. So I really choose competent team members, and I trust them to be able to carry out the tasks. Before then, I was really a control freak. It was so hard for me to let go. But I realized that it wasn't helping my mental health, because when you are a control freak, you're so attached to the outcome. And then if you're attached to that outcome, it will really affect you. Sobrang grabe ng effect, whether it's good or bad. So that's how I am able to manage it in spite of the multiple things that I'm doing. So journaling, um, delegating, and also having a support group, I guess. I guess other independent women or entrepreneurs would be able to relate to this, but sometimes we are so afraid of asking for help or talking to our friends and admitting that we need help. And that's something I also learned that helped me. opening up to my friends, joining support groups, and all that. So there.
Thank you so much. So I love what you said about journaling, and I don't think we have talked ever dito sa series ng One Drops mental health conversation. I don't think we ever dive deep into journaling. Can you give us like a startup course or paano ka nag-start sa journaling? It's very interesting. People mention it. Ang daming nagsasabi that it really helps their mental health. And personally, I've been trying it. Nag-journal ako since I was a kid pero hindi ganun ka-intense. And now, when I was trying it, I bought some stickers, I bought some cute bookmarks. Nag-enjoy ako. Parang feeling ko, ang saya nito. Pero how are you doing it? How does it help you with your mental health? Can you share like tips for starters? Kung merong nakikinig sa atin or nanonood dito na gusto nilang mag-try, mag-journaling and see if it helps their mental health, what tips can you give them?
Sure. I can relate to you, Joy Lee. I started writing in diaries or journaling when I was a kid. And I guess yung journey ko in journaling was also a trial and error process. I guess 5 years ago, I got into what they call bullet journaling. It's a simplified process where you just use like notations to denote whether it's a task, it's a note, it's a good event or something. But I got into a phase where I overdid it. Na I was overwhelmed with all the possibilities. I joined Facebook groups where people were sharing their journals and I see, oh my God, their journals are so nice, so creative. I also bought a lot of stickers and washi tapes, those kinds of brush pens and all that. So it was very exciting. And then at some point, I wasn't able to sustain it because I was overthinking it already. What worked for me in the past year, and I'm proud to say I've been able to do it like every day for the past 13 months na pala ngayon, 13 months of journaling every day. What helps is really keeping it simple. I'm focusing in the startup industry, we use this term called minimum viable product or MVP. To simplify the term, what it just means is you do the minimum possible thing that will give you the benefit that you really want. So, for example, when I say journaling, what I want to get out of it is the ability for me to process my thoughts. That means if there are days when I can't really fix the format and all, then I will just write whatever is on my mind. So that's, I guess, one tip for those who want to start journaling. You don't have to go with the trend. If you feel like creativity is a good outlet for you, then go for it. But if you feel like it's pressuring, then don't mind it. What's important is journaling is about focusing on the present and putting all your thoughts into paper, because that's actually one of the suggestions also of my psych before. Kasi when our thoughts are just in our head, it's so hard to process them and we feel that they're heavy. But once you write them down on paper, or even not, if for those, I have a friend na hindi siya nag-journal on paper, but she journals via videos, personal use. So that can also be helpful. Just making sure that the thoughts are processed and let go. And if you have an outlet, that's actually a good way to lessen the burden and the load on you. So
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think totoo. I think the key there is yung sinabi mong word na outlet, right?
yeah.
As long as you have like a release of your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, it's gonna be helpful. So in whatever form it can be as simple as writing them on a scratch paper or on a tissue paper, to as complex as editing a video like a series or something like that. As long as nagiging outlet siya ng inyong emotions, I think it's gonna be super helpful. That's great. Right. I wanna learn more, Gia, about what you said then about, the things that help you manage your mental health. You mentioned that you learned how to delegate. Can you tell us more about that? Talk to us about some tips that work for you. Paano ka nag-let go ng control? Sobrang curious ako dito. Paano ka nakapag-let go ng control? What were the step-by-step, if you have that, step-by-step things that you did to be able to do that and to be able to successfully delegate tasks para makatulong sa iyo in managing your mental health?
Okay. Thanks, Joyly. So, number one would be the Pareto principle, which has been very helpful for me. For those who are not familiar, Pareto principle states that 20% of our actions produce 80% of our results. So it's all a matter of finding which of our tasks or belong to that 20% for maximum impact. That allows me to really conserve my energy. So I focus on the high impact tasks. Number two, when it comes to delegating, first I made sure that I worked with the right people. So I have a very, very stringent recruitment process when it comes to bringing people into my teams. As in, it's not just about their capabilities, but also about their values. And I make sure that I can trust them. So one important criteria for me, for example, is they should have a growth mindset. They should be reliable. They should understand mental health also. That's a very important thing for me. When you establish that kind of process in hiring people or bringing people into your team, you can it gets easier to trust them. Um, I try to look at what their strengths are, what they're good at, and then I work with them on how we can find the tasks that will allow them to be able to carry out our goals. So ayun, it's not really a 1, 2, 3 kind of process, but it's more of gradually letting go. Hindi naman ibig sabihin ng delegation is, okay, ito yung task, ikaw na bahala dyan. What I usually do is, I really am with them at the start of the process. So, I let them see how I work. I let them see how I do it. I align with the vision and the goal. It's up to them how they want to carry it out. But what's important to me is we agree on the results that we want. So that's how I delegate. It's still not, don't get me wrong, it's still not very, it's still not easy. I still get a lot of days when I get frustrated or I feel like, oh my God, I want to do this instead. I, I am a perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist. So, so that's a struggle. But I've learned over the years talaga na perfectionism is an illusion. It now, I guess, I can say that what mas important yung excellence, making sure that you do your best in whatever that you do. So that's the same values that I impart in my team that allows me to trust them na rin with the
I love
tasks.
it. I can really relate to this, and I'm learning a lot from you, Gia, kasi I'm also managing like a team right now in working with clients. And one thing that has helped me, or one thing that I really value in working with a team, is creating a culture, right? A culture na hindi kayo nandito para mag-away-away. Hindi nandito kayo to help each other grow and to work together in creating results, right? And those things are like what I learned from you, from the things that you mentioned. I love that you said that you're working with their strengths. That's really important in making a team successful, and working with people, right? Is to see the best value that they can offer and put in the table, right? That's great. And I'm sure it has helped you manage your mental health as well, you know. Isa hindi na ikaw talaga lahat.
Yeah, super.
Totoo yan. Hindi ko ma-imagine kung ikaw lahat yon, yung tatlong sinabi mo, tatlong responsibilities that you mentioned. If you're gonna do it all by yourself, I'm not sure what will happen. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Gia, for sharing all your thoughts. Now, if people want to work with you or know more about you, where can they find you or how can they reach out to you?
Okay. You can visit my website. I have a website. It's at engineerraketera.com. So engrraketera.com. I'm also on Facebook. It's the same name, Engineer Raketera. Instagram, also the same. They can email me at gia@engineerraketera.com. Or if they want to work with my startup, they can also email me at gia@bookspine.ph. So
That's great.
yeah.
Now, here at One Drop, we believe that one person can get better one step at a time, one day at a time, one drop at a time. So, my last question for you today, Gia, is what one drop can, people listening or watching this episode, what one drop can they do today to be a little better tomorrow?
I guess for me it would be mindful of the words you tell yourself. So the self-talk, be kind to yourself. Imagine you were your friend or someone you care about. Give yourself that same kind of love and care. So yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Gia, for all of your time, for your short time that binigay mo sa amin. We are honored to learn from you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Joy for having me here and for doing this. Thank you so much.